We know there are many choices in internet radio, and the staff and host of LA Talk Live would like to thank you for choosing the internet's hottest destination for the most eclectic sound and invigorating talk. This is LA Talk Live. We are more than just talk.
The Dialogue, the community voice of Southern California's young professional network. Relevant discussions about the thoughts, concerns, opportunities, and challenges faced by today's generational leaders. Real talk, real people. This is The Dialogue. The Dialogue with Starlett Quarles on LA Talk Live and streaming live at www.latalklive.com.
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome once again to The Dialogue. Real talk, real people. I'm your host, Starlett Quarles, and we're on live at latalklive.com. And as always, The Dialogue is the voice of our generation. So thank you so much for joining us here every Wednesday from 5 to 6:30, where we like to discuss the topics that are relevant to today's generational leaders. Tonight we are concluding our month-long series on the evolution of hip-hop with our conversation on the future of hip-hop and independent artists. If you have been joining us all month long, we've already talked about the history of hip-hop and the appropriation of hip-hop and white artists. It is befitting that we conclude this series talking about the future of hip-hop because, believe it or not, real hip-hop is alive and well today. It is not dead, and it is alive and well in the underground scene, and those who know it best are the independent artists. Joining us here tonight for our conversation, we have West Coast artist and MC Shabazz, the EMS Burrell, hip-hop educator and writer Sebastian Eckleby, and West Coast artist and record producer Sir Jinx, all here tonight to help me conclude our month-long series on the evolution of hip-hop and tonight's conversation on the future of hip-hop and independent artists. And as always, this is a community conversation, so make sure you give us a call here at 323-473-3100, 323-473-3100, or you can always post your comments on our Facebook page at facebook.com/The Dialogue LA, or tweet me at StarQuar, and you can always stay connected to us. Always stay connected on our Facebook page at on our website, thedialoguela.com. That is thedialoguela.com, where you can sign up for our mailing list so that you can get notices about upcoming shows and replays, and you can also find archived episodes of past shows that we've had here on The Dialogue. Now, in honor of our month-long series and our focus tonight on independent artists, we are spotlighting songs from Sir Jinx's new album, Sir Jinx Presents The West Wing. And what we're listening to right now is For the Love of Money, featuring Tony Villa, K-Ting, M-Hat, and Medusa, right here on The Dialogue. We're going to have a quick commercial break, and we're going to be playing excerpts of Sir Jinx's song all throughout today's show. So make sure you tune back in. We're going to take a quick commercial break, and when we come back, we're going to jump right into our conversation on the future of hip-hop and independent artists. Right here with me, Starlett Quarles, on The Dialogue. Real talk, real people. We'll be right back.
You should have said you was black and these. Now you want to be down with me out of here. Expensive too, but I'm a G, gotta have it, dog. Expenses do. I be loving the way you loving me and all of my.
Hurry, hurry, and make your reservations for the greatest show on earth under the big top of home in Beverly Hills. It's the Daz Band Concert, January 30th, 2016. $50 standing room, $80 dinner with 2-course meal and wine, VIP $150 dinner course, 4-course meal, and champagne. Tickets are going fast, so get them now. The Daz Band, the greatest show on earth, at home in Beverly Hills. RSVP, a second show is added.
Interested in advertising your business, product, or service here on The Dialogue? The Dialogue will help you promote your business, increase your traffic, and bring in new clients through innovative and creative marketing packages, including affordable radio ad campaigns for small businesses. Go to www.thedialoguela.com or call 323-475-8729. That's 323-475-8729. 323-475-8729. And now, back to The Dialogue. The Dialogue with Starlett Quarles. Real talk, real people.
Welcome back. Welcome back. Welcome back. Welcome back to The Dialogue. Real talk, real people. I'm your host, Starlett Quarles, and we're on live at latalklive.com. And tonight we are concluding our month-long series on the evolution of hip-hop, and tonight's conversation on the future of hip-hop and independent artists. And like each and every show, this is a community conversation, so give us a call. I know you got some comments and some questions for our guests. We got Sir Jinx here. Are you kidding me? 323-473-3100. 323-473-3100, or post your comments on our Facebook page, facebook.com/thedialoguela, or tweet me at @StarQuar. And again, we are featuring songs tonight off of Sir Jinx's new album, Sir Jinx Presents The West Wing. And right now we're listening to Something Gonna Change, featuring Al Green. What's up, Jinx? Where can we find the album? We need the mic. Okay.
Yeah.
There you are.
I can't hear myself.
You can't hear yourself. We can hear you. All right, well, I'll come back to you. We're going to find out about we're going to fix our technical difficulties, and then we're going to come back to you. So, again, tonight we are talking about the independent artists, the future of hip-hop and the independent artists. I'm going to start by reading, introducing you a little bit to our guests. One of them is missing, so like always, we're going to check him on his CP time, which is Shabazz, the EMS Burrell. But until he gets here, we're going to introduce you to the people who showed up on time, starting with Sebastian Eckleby, hip-hop educator and writer at sebishiphop.com. He's also a creative consultant and provides a number of hip-hop educational service. He also teaches currently the history of hip-hop at View Park High Preparatory School, which is a local charter school here in Los Angeles. And he is also a hip-hop historian, public speaker, and co-host of Take No Prisoners, and he's always a welcome guest here on The Dialogue. Welcome back, Sebastian.
Thank you for having me once again.
Yeah, you said your students said you're a superstar.
Yeah, they just Googled me and said, oh, people know you. You're famous. I'm like, it's not the kind of fame that you guys are thinking about, but I'll take it.
So you're educating the kids on hip hop. What exactly are you teaching them in terms of how to get them to appreciate the culture and the history of hip hop?
Right. Well, it's definitely taking them on a journey back to the beginning of hip hop, actually even before hip hop, because we start off with the civil rights movement.
Nice.
Just to contextualize hip hop culture. I don't
Okay.
want them to think it was just born in a vacuum. There's nothing that came before it.
Okay.
But we also use hip hop as a medium to discuss current events and social issues. So it's really just a subject that lends itself to a broad range of discussions.
How do you get an A in your class? You had a freestyle at the end?
No.
What's the final look like?
I mean, it's still academic.
Okay.
You still
Do you make it challenging?
Absolutely.
Okay, very
absolutely.
good.
But it's definitely academic. I mean, there's still homework, classwork, worksheets, assignments, essays, et cetera, et cetera.
Okay,
so
very good.
so it's not just let's have fun and watch videos and freestyle all year.
All right, so we got Sebastian teaching the kids. Teaching the kids. We love the kids. Sitting next to Sebastian, West Coast legend, the Imperial Sir Jinx. Yes. Who has been spinning on two turntables for more than 20 years. That's a long time.
Yeah.
And spent millions of hours DJing at clubs, concerts, and, of course, large events. His career is full of many landmark achievements, including multi-platinum albums and CDs and movies. What movies did you star in?
I was in Poetic Justice.
You was in Poetic Janet.
Yeah.
Janet, that's my girl Janet.
Yeah, we was old friends.
Is
You know how the
that right?
story go. When the movie was over, so was the phone number. Phone number changed as soon as they wrapped up.
I know they did. I know she did. He has also been entertaining and intriguing clubgoers and music lovers worldwide by spinning the hottest jams, new and old, which includes R&B, hip hop, rare grooves, top 40, dance, pop, reggae, and neo soul. He has also played with such platinum acts as Ice Cube, Exhibit, Corrupt, and The Dog Pound, as well as has performed on some of the largest tours in history, including Lollapalooza. Is that how you pronounce it?
Lollapalooza.
Lollapalooza.
Yeah.
And the anger management tour. What is that like being on stage with just millions, hundreds of thousands of people?
I mean, you just feel them. I mean, you can't understand what they're saying. Like you
Right.
tell them, say ho. They just But you feel them. The people up front make the people behind them feel it, and then as
So
long as
artists
the people up front
really do
feel it-
feed off that energy.
Oh yeah, they.
Uh-oh. Technical difficulties. Okay. Oh, there we are. Okay.
Yeah,
sorry.
They feel it. I mean, and the people. Some people move further back to even feel the music more because it gets louder as it goes back. You know? So a lot of people definitely love going to them big shows, and I love doing them. They're real dope.
All right. So tonight we're featuring new music from your current album, Sir Jinx Presents the West Wing. Tell us about the inspiration for this album.
Well, when the game is changing now with how music is going. So, most right now the producer is kind of moving to the front. You got, the Timberlands and of course the Dre's and different people, the Mustards and people like that.
Okay.
So what I wanted to do was get a bunch of my guys together from back in the day.
Yeah, you got a lot of celebrities on the celebrity features on here.
Bring some new producers
Okay.
and present this record like the West Wing. Like, what I'm saying, I'm running for the new champion, the new mayor of the West Coast,
Okay,
So
very good.
this is like the beginning record of something like that.
So how long have you been putting your music out independently?
For the maybe past 5 years.
The past 5 years.
But the
So for a
internet,
minute.
the internet definitely is a good place. There's not too many places like back in the day where I had relationships with mom and pop spots, different independent record places. They don't even exist no more.
Okay.
So at some point, you got to understand and get into the internet. So I had to learn a little bit more about the internet and learn how to sell music on the internet, and then start putting music out. So
how has it been for you?
it's dope. I mean,
dope.
it's a beautiful thing. I mean, I work with some of the best people in hip hop. Everybody just don't have to be on top.
Right.
It's how the mix is made. You know what I'm saying? Sometimes you can have one ingredient and it don't sell, but you have one ingredient and it will sell.
Okay.
So that's pretty much how I put these kind of albums together to go forward. So it's going to be a blueprint for the future.
Very good.
On how everybody as a producer will evolve. You will not just give your music to artists on a CD or however you get it.
Okay.
You're going to tell them, hey, why don't you be on my album and let me put it out and let me see how it's going to work, because I've been doing that for years,
Okay. And you're going to talk to us a little bit more later on in the show about how
Yes,
to
the
actually
West Wing.
distribute yourself on. We're going to play some excerpts, obviously,
yeah.
but just how to distribute yourself on the internet and how to monetize that.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. Very good. So tonight we are focusing on the future of hip hop and independent artists. So what would you say, or what are your thoughts on today's hip hop? How has it changed commercial? How has it changed commercially?
Well, before we even move forward in that direction, we really need to define what today's hip hop actually
Very
means.
good. What is
right?
what is it? What does it mean?
So, are we talking about what's on the radio? Are we talking about mainstream rap, commercial rap? Is that
Okay.
hip hop, or are we talking about rap music, which follows in the tradition of hip hop culture?
Okay.
So we really need.
So
to
what is being played
differentiate that.
commercially? What is
That's-
being
that's-
capitalized on?
I know for the most part, it's just pop music.
It's pop. It's
That's
pop
what it is.
music.
It's rap, but
Okay.
it's pop music.
All right.
That's what it is. And that's all fine and dandy for people who like that kind of rap.
Okay.
But it's actually a very small piece of everything that hip hop is
Okay.
in its totality.
All right. All right. Jinx, caller, I see you. We're gonna get to you, Jinx. What would you say about today's hip hop culture? How would you define it?
I mean, everything has to evolve at some point. I mean,
Okay.
it can't stay the same. If it stays the same, it's boring. It would have fell off.
Okay.
I mean, we got other genres of music like Dixie and other music that just, I wouldn't say they fell off, but they're not in the mainstream.
Okay.
And rap has somehow invented itself to just keep reinventing itself.
Why? Right. You said it's more popular
But yeah, like when he was
than
saying
hip hop,
like,
right?
like
Than the
pop
culture
part,
in and of itself,
it-
right?
It's them being accepted to a broader base of people.
Okay.
You know, when it was just in the the Bronx or in Brooklyn or wherever it started, that was to appeal to them people.
Okay.
So when it went further across the United States to the West Coast, it appealed to them. Rap is the craziest style of music that can appeal to any style, to where no other style can.
Okay, very good. Richard, we still have a caller. Hi, caller. You're on with the dialogue. Do you have a comment or question for our
Yeah,
guest?
I have a question for Sir Jinx.
Hey, what up?
Hi. What's your name?
Pockets.
Yo, Sir Jinx, what's up? How you doing, man?
Hey, what
How
up,
you
young?
doing? Much props to you, sir.
Oh,
you're
cheers.
a
Thank
beast. You're a beast, and I've been following you for years, man. But yo, what's your opinion on this new this new state of mind, this whack hop that's out there on streaming radio?
Would you say whack hop?
Yeah,
what
whack
you
hop.
call
I don't call it hip hop. I mean,
Call it whack
he wanted to cover it up, sugarcoat it, call it hip hop. But it's not, man. These people, these kids are on some, I don't know, they're on some cough syrup or something.
Well,
Tell me what you think. What you gonna do, man? What you gonna bring to the table, man?
Okay. All right. Thank you. Thank you for your question, caller.
I mean,
go ahead, Jinx.
I can't really take away from what people perceive rap as. Rap didn't have a blueprint to it. You know, it kind of like how you feel. It was the perfect way to express yourself.
Right.
So the quality of the music is dictating on what kind of equipment is out there. So the music that's out there now is just being created on the same platform, meaning a computer. So when we come from the day where we like actual piano, we like the way it sounds, the people of today don't care if it sounds like a piano, or they don't really care about that. They really care that their point is.
Do they even know the difference if it's real live instruments or not?
Not anymore.
Okay, can you even tell the difference?
Not, but how we made the music
very good.
was different on how we constructed it and the emotion of the song and how it happened. Now, when you use a computer, it's kind of like presets.
Okay.
So you can't change presets.
All right. So part of the problem with today's youth in hip hop is that they don't have an appreciation for its history or its culture. And you deal with kids all the time. So when they have that epiphany and when you expose them to really the essence and the history of it, how does that impact them?
For the most part, they actually really enjoy it. It's an eye-opening experience for them. You know, and you're talking about 14, 15, 16-year-old, kids.
But that's a very influential age.
It is. It is. And, you can't really knock them for just taking in what they're being exposed to on the radio. You turn on the radio, and you just accept what it is. You don't question, like, where does this come from? What's the history behind it? You're just enjoying your life and just listening to music that's hot at the time.
Okay.
So it's really just a matter of exposing them to what's out there. And that's kind of my job, to give them an alternative. Like, you might like what you like, but here's the history. And not only in history, but here's what's hot underground or independent right now, an alternative to what you currently listen to on mainstream radio.
And so when you expose them to, underground hip-hop artists, and how do they respond to that?
I would say the majority of the students really dig it.
Okay.
Because they're challenged. They want to hear something new. They want to hear something fresh.
Okay.
And lyrically, it gives them a little bit more to think about. Again, it's really just about, a lot of kids are into like spitting bars, like, ooh, you got bars, and they get that from some of these artists that they might not listen to if they're listening to mainstream radio.
All right, what do you say, Jinx?
Well, like I say, I think music is a way to express yourself.
Okay.
And there's really no rules in expressing yourself unless you're doing it in a bad way. You know what I mean? So everybody, I like the way the music is going. It make me feel good.
What direction do you like? I mean, it's not even genuine hip hop anymore.
But it's
commercially.
We go through transitions. You just like when you buying women's shoes. I mean, they change, they evolve, they move forward. Now, if you just don't like high heels, period, then you just give it up and still wear platforms. Just keep wearing that. But the person that invented the heel wanted to evolve. When I see these young guys doing music, I feel like they my kids. like rap is my thing, and I didn't teach him. I didn't teach him nothing.
Okay, but in our previous conversation, you had said if you really want to find genuine hip hop, you can find it.
Oh, for sure.
I mean, there is a culture out there. If you don't want to go with
absolutely.
what's being presented commercially,
Absolutely
you can find
out there.
a culture.
And it's not just about like the old school. It's not like an old school versus new school battle.
Okay.
You know, there's plenty of dope artists right now.
I
New
mean,
artists.
When you look at the guys from back in the day, that's somebody's style.
Okay.
You know, you can't keep doing somebody else's style. When we heard Run DMC, everybody wanted that. When we heard Just Ice, everybody wanted a beatbox. But at the end of the day, it's not your style.
Okay.
So when it evolves, you have to bring in a new style, or you're biting. You're just royally biting to what that's what they're doing now.
Okay.
Because they're not going forward.
And that is a perfect segue to introducing my guest. Shabazz, move up to the mic, my friend. Now, we always front our guests when they come here on CP time. You started.
Yeah. I got the address. I mean, I've been a little under the weather, but I got that. There was 2 addresses, and I got the one at the bottom. It took me to 6100 because this is 9100. And
you went to okay.
Yeah, I went to that address. So, but I
welcome.
Thank you.
let me officially.
Thank you. Plus, MC's always got to make an entrance. You always got to make an entrance, even when you're not trying to. You got to make.
How you doing, Bozzy?
I'm good.
Let me officially introduce you, West Coast MC and underground artist Shabazz, the EMS. The EMS Burrell.
The EMS.
The
yes.
EMS is a true MC from Mid-City, Los Angeles. The EMS, which represents his stage name as well as his actual name, El Haj Malik Shabazz, who is a solo artist whose style has evolved from the golden era age of hip-hop. You like the 90s? You come from the 90s?
Yeah.
The 90s era
for the
of
most
hip-hop?
part. Yeah, definitely.
Okay, his style of MCing combines good production and strong cadence with content that is primarily derived from social issues that affect both black and brown communities. The EMS's music also reflects underground talent that is often overlooked on the West Coast and he continues to deliver real hip-hop from a fan's perspective and in 2 languages. What other language do you speak?
Spanish.
Let's
go.
Spanish,
Yeah.
English, and Ebonics.
All that. But yeah, Spanish. I say, I used to be able to speak fluently, like just straight up, but now I would say it's at an intermediate
All right.
level. But
so we're talking about just, youth and the independent artists and understanding and respecting the culture and the history of independent artists. And you said when we had spoken that today's youth don't understand the unspoken rules of hip hop. What are some of those unspoken rules of hip hop?
Well, you just said one of them. You were talking about
biting.
Right. And I like it. I like it in a literal sense as well as, as a metaphor, because literally, if you're in a fight, if you're going toe to toe with someone, it's an unspoken rule that you're not going to bite your opponent.
Right.
Even if it's something on the street, you're not going to literally take a bite out of his arm.
Clearly, Tyson didn't get that message.
Right? You know what I'm saying? Which is devastating. But
right.
that's like an unspoken rule in a actual fight.
Very good.
So, in hip hop, biting, copying, this is all about an exchange of different styles.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I'm saying? So, it's all about being original and bringing something new or different that perhaps stimulates people who are currently doing it, or people who are inspired to do it.
Very good. So talk about the importance of writing lyrics. How significant is that? I mean, is it bad if somebody else writes your song for you? So I'm going to start with you, Shabazz. Talk about the importance of a hip hop artist writing his own lyrics. What's the significance of that?
Well, for one thing, you take it from its origin. Originally, rappers, MCs were known for writing their own music.
Okay.
That's just how it's always been. That's how it started. Mm-hmm. You know what I'm saying? That was one of the unspoken rules, if you would. You know what I'm saying? If I'm gonna freestyle, or someone doesn't freestyle for me, if I have to freestyle, or if I'm in a battle or something like that, that comes from me.
Okay.
There isn't someone standing next to me freestyling and then I say, yeah, that's me.
Okay.
You know what I'm saying? So writing in a lot of ways is similar to where you're putting yourself on a page.
Okay.
But that's just one of those unspoken rules. That's one of the rules of hip hop is that you write your own stuff, and it's changed, but that's what I grew up knowing.
Okay. What about you, Jinx?
Well, it just depends on what level of the game you're in.
Okay.
Rap came in as a personal, identification for yourself. So it's pretty hard for somebody to write your own ID for you.
Okay.
But when you're going into the music field, and you need expressions that are bigger than what you can think of, then you're always going to need help. When you're on that page, I mean, when we move up and you're getting $100,000 a record, at some point you're going to have a staff, and you're going to pump the best music out. And that level of selling music, no, I don't think you have to write your own material.
So it doesn't take away from their credibility.
I mean, when you're writing songs, but when
Okay.
you're battling, then
Right.
you can't say nobody else rap. Because
Right.
that's supposed to be your expression.
Right.
Even if it's whack. Even
Okay.
if you're not good at it, at least you can be actually funny and win.
Okay.
I
To
done
me, though-
seen some funny people win over lyrical people.
Okay.
To me, you just can't call yourself an MC if somebody else writes your music. That's what I'll say. You
Okay.
can't call yourself an MC. You can call yourself a rapper. That's fine, but you can't call yourself an MC if
Okay.
somebody else is writing
All
your
right,
music.
you agree?
You know, it's funny. I'm thinking like the first, you go back to Cold Crush Brothers, Grandmaster Caz, right? He got his one of his verses taken by Hank from Sugar Hill Gang.
Oh, wow.
You know, so you're looking at the beginning of hip hop, at least one of the first commercialized
Okay.
platform for
Right.
rap. You know, and you got an unofficial ghostwriter. I mean, Kaz wasn't trying to ghostwrite.
I mean,
for
I
Hank,
don't think it was
but-
called ghost writing.
No,
then.
it wa-
I thought
yeah,
it was.
definitely.
I
Right,
think it
right.
was just
Right,
helping
right,
out.
right.
You
No,
know?
Just help a brother
Ghost
out.
writing came when Puffy,
Right,
Puffy
right,
era
right,
came.
right.
That's when
No,
Ghost
no,
writing
I know.
came.
I'm just kinda-
he was on staff.
Right, no, for sure. No, I'm kind of making fun of the whole
Yeah,
the whole
yeah.
concept. But I mean, let's take a legend like Chuck D, right? He had Paris, the MC Paris from Oakland, write an entire album for Chuck to
Okay.
spit. You know, you look at Chuck, like, would you question Chuck's, position in hip hop?
Right.
Even Kanye gets a bunch of his stuff written. Like Rhymefest writes a bunch of his stuff. Common got his stuff written by Rhymefest for the Selma song. What is
Okay.
it? Glory.
Uh-huh.
He had a ghostwriter for that.
Okay.
Once again, that's that level.
Yeah,
That's
yeah,
that
yeah.
No,
level.
I get it.
Right,
so,
right,
but for the
When you're
independent
getting
artist,
paid, when somebody start paying you to rap and paying you to write your songs,
okay,
you would be an idiot not to get other people's opinion.
okay,
No,
All
I,
right.
I dig it. Yeah.
okay.
That would be dumb.
All right. So what about freestyling? So is it required for you to be considered an authentic hip hop artist that you have that skill set?
No, it's not
Okay.
required. But again, if you want to call yourself an MC, I think it's one of the criteria of being a true MC. It's not mandatory. There's a lot of people. I guess
It's
that I can
really
consider.
hard.
There's a couple of people I guess I can consider MCs who aren't really known for freestyling, but it's one of those things. It's one of those things.
Exhibit is one of them.
I started with freestyling.
Okay.
That's how I started doing. Getting into writing it down. It started
Okay.
with a freestyle.
So you said Exhibit is one?
Yeah, Exhibit. He won't freestyle. He always be like, you're only limited to so many words when you're rapping.
Okay.
And when you're expressing yourself, you're limited to so many words. So most of the time, I know a bunch of freestyle rappers, they just do raps they wrote in the middle and just kind of blend them together.
Okay.
So it's a fine line between knowing if a person actually can rap off the head, unless you're like picking up a cup and then and pointing at that. But then you'll see how that dialogue will change and it'll become more plastic and broken and you
Okay.
can't understand it. And most of the time, if you can rap good off the head, supposedly you can make sense.
All right.
So that's
So
very
who is known
hard.
for being commercially? Who's known for being a good freestyler?
Jay-Z. That Jay-Z don't write. He don't
Nothing?
actually don't write it down.
That's a
He
story.
doesn't write anything down.
The majority of it, he don't write it down.
Off the
He
head.
goes in there and write and says it. Turn the mic on. I got something to say.
Shabazz, you want to say something?
No, I mean, I don't. That's that's an amazing process. I mean, not to write anything on one take. I mean, I think there's. It sounds like in the creative process, there's a little more to it than that.
Okay.
Maybe it starts that way, but if he can just do one take songs.
No. I'm not putting the one take. He usually do like 4 bars. If you can hear Jay-Z rhyme, you can hear how his rhyme patterns will go from 4 to 8.
But even if you do 4 bars and they're one take for $1 million songs without writing anything down, that's quite an amazing trait to have as an MC.
You care
know what I'm
less
saying?
about the risk.
It's like I can see, okay, you come off the top with a couple of ideas and then you take one, then you write it down and add it to the song. But I mean, to be able to just do that off the top, that's
That is amazing.
That's
Well,
Superman.
you gotta look at the subject.
Superman status, but he got the the income
gotta
and the
look at the-
notoriety to say, okay, yeah, I believe that.
But his subject matter
Definitely.
never changes. So at some point, how hard is it to rap about
You
this?
said it.
His
you
subject,
said it.
His
But-
subject matter never changes.
It never changes.
You said
He
it.
been
Okay.
saying the same thing. But that's the dope part about Jay-Z is that he's been talking the same thing. He never changed, and it's very easy. He can say, that's why I think, like, when they brought up Jay-Z probably wrote 60% of his raps, and the rest of the 40 is Biggie Smalls and Tupac and everybody else references.
All right.
So at some point, it is easy to rap off the head when you can reference other people's raps and not do a full 16 of nothing that references a Biggie line or something Snoop said or something like that. So it's a remarkable thing to be able to rap off the head.
It is.
Yeah.
And we all are. The whole show is about how the independent artists and how underground hip hop is alive and well. It is not dead. Why do people think that real hip hop is dead? Just because what's being paid commercially?
They're not exposed to it. They don't dig.
Right.
You got to search for it if you want to find it.
Right, but you said if you search for it,
you'll find it.
You will absolutely find it.
Definitely.
We're going to take a quick commercial break. We're going out to Every Day featuring Tony Villa Productions.
Yes.
By Sir Jinx and Day One.
Yeah,
I messed up on the first
beat.
one. Who did I mess up on? I said
King T. Big
King T. I'm
was in there.
sorry.
Medusa.
I'm
was on the
sorry.
first track.
I messed
Shout
up.
out
My
to
lips
Medusa.
got in the way. We're gonna take a quick commercial break, and when we come back, we're gonna continue our conversation on the future of hip hop and the independent artists. So make sure you give us a call right here, 323-473-3100, 323-473-3100. We'll be right back.
Yeah, we live and die every day. Hustle every night, trying to make my pay. All the way in the morning, this ain't right. Sleep in the evenings, this ain't life. Finally breathing, I'm so tired. Just trying to break even, this ain't life. Look at rappers now, ain't got shit to show for it. Wanna win the rap race, but didn't really train for it. All up in the rat race, going insane for it. Tried to say anything and maybe get paid.
Reality radio, handcrafted for your listening pleasure. You're tuned in to LA Talk Live, where we're more than just talk.
Hurry, hurry, and make your reservations for the greatest show on earth under the big top of home in Beverly Hills. It's the Daz Band Concert, January 30th, 2016. $50 standing room, $80 dinner with 2-course meal and wine, VIP $150 dinner course, 4-course meal, and champagne. Tickets are going fast, so get them now. The Daz Band, the greatest show on earth at home in Beverly Hills. RSVP, a second show is added.
Interested in advertising your business, product, or service here on The Dialogue? The Dialogue will help you promote your business, increase your traffic, and bring in new clients through innovative and creative marketing packages, including affordable radio ad campaigns for small businesses. Go to www.thedialoguela.com or call 323-475-8729. That's 323-475-8729. 323-475-8729. And now, back to The Dialogue. The Dialogue with Starlett Quarles. Real talk, real people.
It's just one of those days when you want to pick it up when your head is hung low. I've been through the tunnel.
Welcome back to the Dialogue. That sounds like my girl Yo-Yo. We are spotlighting some of New Jinx's new music tonight off of his album Sir Jinx Presents The West Wing, and this is Enjoy Yourself With Me by Sir Jinx. Welcome back to the Dialogue, Real Talk, Real People. Tonight we are concluding our month-long series on the evolution of hip-hop, and tonight's conversation on the future of hip-hop and the independent artists. So make sure you give us a call here, 323-473-3100, 323-473-3100, or tweet me at StarQuar, or hit us up with your comments on or questions on our Facebook page, facebook.com/thedialoguela. So before we went into the commercial break, we were talking about the evolution of the independent artists, and that's what, where hip-hop is still alive and well. So who is the audience? Who is the independent underground hip-hop audience? Who do they cater to?
I mean, you got who's the audience, or who does
Who's the audience? I mean, who the underground consists of whom?
Right. I mean, it's a lot of people, you know, and it's global too. It's
Okay.
not just
It's not
here.
just locally. It's not just on the West
local.
Coast. It's not just on the East Coast.
We're talking about
it's in
every
Cuba.
continent.
It's
Yeah.
in Brazil.
Exactly.
It's in England.
So, you know, people who are looking for like underground, independent music, you know, they're diehard hip hop heads. They're
Right.
willing to actually do the work
Okay.
and search for it. You know, and a lot of people just don't know that it's out there. You got a lot of people they're jaded. They don't know, like, hey, you can actually go online and look up this stuff. You don't have
Right.
to stay stuck with, you know, the stuff from the past. You don't have to stay stuck with, you know, De La and Tribe Called Quest and like
Right.
that's it.
Right,
you know,
right,
whatever
right,
happened
right.
to good hip hop, it's out there. You gotta search for it.
Okay, very good. So, how does the underground scene? How does it maintain the authenticity of hip hop, specifically when it comes to the culture and the 5 elements? We talked about the 5 elements here on the show earlier this month. So, how does the underground scene maintain that authenticity?
Well, first off, this is a trip. There's 4. It's 4 elements.
I thought it was 5.
It's 4 elements.
I added the crack house.
The crack house. But no, I actually add an element too. I
Wait,
consider
it was
it to
breakdancing.
be DJing,
DJing,
spray painting, and
spray-
MCing.
Graffiti and MCing.
Yeah, but
There's a 5th one.
Bambaataa, the Zulu Nation, they have knowledge too.
My thing is the ear. It's the ear. It's having the discerning ear. You know, and to me that's also the listener, your audience that creates the following. That's an important element of the music as well, in my opinion.
All right.
I just said because everybody talk about dope now. So the dope house, crack house, trap house, that environment is the environment.
What exactly is defined
that it
as
happened in.
trap music? What is trap music?
They never describe the environment. They only describe the elements in it. So I just said the crack house because that's the ambience.
The crack house or the strip club.
Or the strip
I don't
club.
know if I would add that. First of all, usually, going back into it, as far as hip hop, there is a in my opinion, there's a standard of integrity and a standard of content that you want to maintain to make it more interesting and and interactive. So to me, if you're talking about the same thing all the time, to me that I can question you as an MC. I can question your affiliation in hip hop, especially if your content is always on something negative or degrading. I can question.
Well, just
that.
because it come from a trap house don't make it negative.
Right, but you guys answer my question. What is considered trap music?
No, well,
What is
it's more
defined
like,
as trap music?
like street music. Like it's
All right.
their type of music. They named it. Down south dudes, they named their music so they won't have to call it something else, and we won't call it something else.
So you ain't gonna
Just
call
like-
it hip hop.
Well, it's trap music.
Yeah, I think it's its own genre.
And I would tell you straight up,
Like gangster music.
Right.
They don't call East Coast guys gangster music. They call
Right.
West Coast gangster
Okay,
music.
very
you know?
good.
my students will tell you, trap music is trap music. Hip hop is hip hop. They
Exactly.
make
Rap is
I
rap.
agree with that.
They separated themselves. You know,
Okay.
if you're talking about 15, 16, they're telling you like, they actually say like, nah, we don't really listen to hip hop. We listen to trap.
Okay.
They're making it
But
different
like
themselves.
in the fifth element, we just didn't say the environment. So that's why I kept saying that's the fifth element is where it happens. We don't say where all this happens at. And not saying it always happens at a trap house, but back in the day when we were younger, it happened in somebody's garage.
Okay.
And it was always some shady business going on. It wasn't no conscious going on
Okay.
back then.
Like I said, the Zulu Nation says knowledge is the fifth element, and then we can also look at beatboxing as being one. Of the
That's
fifth
what
elements.
it was.
Exactly.
Beatboxing. I knew it wasn't crazy. I knew it was
Exactly.
5.
Right.
I had a
would give
graphic
beatboxing.
earlier. It was 5. If you find that graphic, please put it up. But
trap house.
Shabazz, I want to get a little
Trap
bit
house
too.
beatboxing.
Stop it.
Did you say trap house beatboxing?
How is trap house equal beatboxing?
They just beat it and do the beat like a down south beat, I guess. That's hi-hats. That would be probably really original. at some point.
So anyway, so Shabazz, I want to get a little bit into your only to Jinx, but you're a true independent hip hop artist. I want to get a little bit into your background. So when did you first fall in love with hip hop? What was that first song, and how did it impact you?
Well, there really wasn't a first song.
Okay.
It's just what I've always known. It's like asking me when was the first time I fell in love with my mama, or when did I know? That was just my mama.
Well, this
I
mama,
came
my
in
mama.
to the world, and that's what it was.
Okay,
and that's
all right.
I don't, I can't remember the first song. Now I can remember the verse, not necessarily by heart, but I remember the what happened. The verse that was spit that got me into rapping, and that was from a friend of mine. Shout out to the HG7 Oddball Omega Odyssey Omega. That's like he was a friend of my brother's, but he's the one who pretty much got me into rapping.
Do you remember that verse?
Nah, heck no. That was years. That was a long time ago. But I was like, man, I want to do that. That's what I want to do.
Fantastic. So there's been this rebirth in the history of hip hop as we see with Straight Outta Compton. That, like I said on the show, I've seen that movie like 3 times. So being a hip hop head and raised in the culture, what did you think of the movie?
I thought it was good.
Okay.
I was I didn't see it in the theater. I was upset I didn't see it in the
You
theater.
saw it on bootleg?
You know what? This
I put you on blast.
Nah, well, I went to a party and it was on.
Okay, so somebody got a bootleg.
Yeah, it was on, and I was a little distracted though. I didn't really see it the way I wanted to see it. But when I did see it, what I did see, I enjoyed it a whole lot. It was, but I really wanted it to be in the theater because I know all the songs, by heart, and I wanted to be in the theater.
You got to see it on demand. It's on demand right now. But just growing up, especially being a young black male here in Los Angeles. So when the album came out and NWA hit the scene, how did that impact you as a young black man growing up in Los Angeles?
Well, on a number of ways. My mom kind of had to derail the influence it had as far as
you thought she was gonna go gangster.
She did, and it
it
kind of made you a little bolder. You know what I'm saying? I mean, it was because one thing about NWA is that they created the ability to combine good production, good lyrics with the streets, with the gang lifestyle, and that's confusing on many levels, and it's also very influential.
Okay.
Because even as an MC, back in those days, I mean, they met the criteria. They had all of them have flows. You know what I'm saying? Just on that level, and then the beats, they were good. It wasn't really dated. It wasn't, even then. To me, NWA in a lot of ways was very far beyond, before their time.
And you had some things to say about Death Certificate specifically.
Most definitely.
And our Sir Jinx here.
First of all, I have to pay my homage to Sir Jinx. To me, one of the most slept on producers of all time.
Can we give him a clap, Rich?
No doubt about it. Of all time.
I can't even get a clap.
They can't even get a clap,
Rich. When a lot of people talk about producers, like my producer, favorite producer of all time for me is Jay Dilla.
Okay.
When in those circles, all that, I always mention Sir Jinx.
Okay.
Because to me, first of all, Death Certificate was, in my opinion, but it's just the truth, was the number one hip hop album of all time.
What?
I'm sorry. Straight up.
See, he gets a clap.
Death Certificate.
That emotion, that ride up. I was involved. I was like, oh.
When it comes to lyrics, when it comes to consciousness, when it comes to gangster, when it comes to the time, when it comes to the impact it had on the industry, I think everyone who came out with an album that year said something, made a reference, took a scratch, took a soundbite from Death Certificate.
How do you feel hearing that, Jinx? This is one of your...
No doubt about it. There's no doubt about it.
It was a dope record.
The dopest. The dopest
I mean, when
record.
you're on that kind of wave, it's like nothing.
What was a lot of your inspiration?
We just came off of the Kill at Will and America's Most. So usually that's the hardest time. When you start a record the first time, all your information from day one starts when you do your first record.
Okay.
But when you do your second record, your information starts at the end of the last record.
Okay.
So you really don't have that much information to go further because you used it all going on the first run.
Okay.
So the next one was almost like us doing it again over. Like we was getting another day one by being able to produce the record in LA under me. Not like I didn't want him around, but when DJ Pooh came into the picture, then I was like, oh man, it's my guy, and it was like the best album to be produced by separate people,
Okay.
and then they all come together to produce the record, not just people being by themselves. People would bring their reels up in the studio. Like you be like, okay, we're gonna bring up this song. Okay, bring up Pooh's song. Okay, bring up this song. Bring up this song. So everybody is there. It's not like, oh, Pooh working today.
Right.
Everybody worked on that record, and that's
Right.
kind of rare. But I think Kendrick kind of works like that now. But a lot of people didn't work like that to make all the production work together to know what kind of album we wanted to make for Death Certificate.
Right.
Yeah, all three of those albums are all 5 mic classic.
All
America's
in your,
Most, Kill It Will.
classic list.
Classic list.
You know
I can't
why-
think of one bad song. I really can't.
The crazy thing about Kill It Will is that we put the Jackin' for Beats on there. But Jackin' for Beats couldn't have went on any other record because we had to actually pay 2 songs for samples to get, I think Jackin' for Beats was like 150% they wanted to even put the record out.
Wow.
So we had to do a couple of remixes and give them all the publishing to 2 other songs. That's how expensive Jackin' for Beats was.
And a lot of
at that
artists
time.
don't know that when you talk about sampling. We're going to talk about the business of the music. This the cost it takes. You know what I mean to sample. I mean,
Well,
we were
what-
talking about Robin Thicke. You know that whole lawsuit.
Well, it's creating the risk.
Right.
I mean, back when I wanted to go back into something you were saying about the Jay-Z and how he can write a rhyme without writing it down with so much money. He's not scared. Because there's been time I did beats and somebody gave me 40,000 or 45, and I couldn't think of what a $45,000 beat sound like.
Wow.
When I was getting 5,000. So if you feel it, you go you turn the track on.
Right.
That money make rap off the head, boy.
Right. So, I want to get a little bit into, some of your music, and I'm going to ask you to freestyle. I got a little beat for you, so I want to do a little something. But what made you want to become an independent artist? What was your inspiration?
Well, it's hard to say. It's just, part of a lot of, what I consider to be in the underground independent. I don't know if it's the same thing now, but I would say most people we would consider to be underground MCs, I guess, are independent.
Okay.
To fit that criteria. I just don't. I don't think my style kind of fits into the status quo.
Okay. How would you define your style?
Well, one thing is that there's a sense of integrity behind what I tend to rap about, or what the content, even if it's, a non-conceptual song, the metaphors and similes I'm going to use aren't going to be anything that's degrading. Perhaps it's going to be uplifting. Perhaps it's going to be something, where I'm talking about my people and talking about police
So you did
brutality.
say your issues were in the intro. I mentioned that you talked about socially conscious issues.
Yeah, because
socially relevant.
I think even on an original level with hip hop, hip hoppers were activists by default.
Okay.
Hip hop has always been a social commentary, and just the gathering, just the congregating alone, the ciphers alone would be something, that you're doing in rebellion to the status quo.
Okay.
The cops would break up ciphers. We're just rapping. We're just
rapping. Dang, we just talking.
So
Talking
everything from the beginning to the end is some sort of rebellion against the status
All right, so we're gonna
quo,
play a little bit from one of your songs. So tell us a little bit before we play it. Tell us about Wrong Colors.
Oh man, Wrong Colors is actually it's a true story, and it actually happened with your cousin.
Which one?
It's me and Aaron.
Oh,
Me and Aaron. It's
shout
a
out
true
to
story
Aaron.
about me being in the wrong area with the wrong colors.
Okay, let's play a little bit. This is the EMS and Wrong Colors.
But I ignored it. Hopped out of bed feeling like I wanna smoke, so now I'm looking for it. One thing's for certain, the West Coast, we got the best smoke, and combine that with the small makes it perfect. It's undeniable. I decide to go to the homie's house cause the connections that he got are more reliable than mine. We only trying to roll and cop a couple dimes, Mr. Officer. It ain't like we out committing crimes. So then we cop that, hop back into the Honda stock rack, rolling up, flowing to this hot track. Jay Dillon, man, y'all niggas need to stop that. Trying to make comparisons, but can't nobody top that. The top cat when it comes to these beats, forever living through these tracks, though maybe physically deceased. Matter of fact, once the donuts got released, put that in plus some instrumentals on a nano for my niece. But anyway, going back to what I was saying, I just got finished blazing in the car, so now we spraying. Cause I guess the cops around here don't be playing cause we black. It also could be cause of where we staying. Where bodies normally fall, call it formally. South Central, somewhere off of 80th and Normandy. Over where the A-tray stays, spraying AKs in broad day. You Mayday from getting jacked on payday. He told the cops that he heard shots coming from a cutlass drop, killed off top speed.
That is Wrong Colors by the EMS. And you do talk a lot about, just the life of black men in Los Angeles, because I was with somebody the other day, and whether you are in the community or not, you have to know whose district you're in or whose hood you're in, whether you're gangbanging or not. And you also mentioned police brutality or racial profiling, I should say.
In every single song that I write, at least I would say like 99.5% of my songs, I make some sort of reference towards the police.
Okay.
I'm in constant protest to police brutality, and that's the way that I do it. I am in the process of writing a song specifically about police. I don't have one of those out of all the years I've been rhyming, but I always say something. I always use the police either as a metaphor, simile in a song, and it's usually negative.
Okay. All right. And so who did the beat?
That was actually a Jay Dilla beat. Okay. It was from a mixtape that a friend of mine created for in homage to Jay Dilla. Okay. Rest in peace, Jay Dilla. So
we're I'm gonna drop a little beat for you. So we want you to do a little freestyling.
Okay. So before we go into the freestyling, just to let you know, freestyling is one thing and one thing only. Yeah. Off the top of the head. It is not a non-conceptual rhyme. It is off the top of the head improvisation right now. That's what freestyle is.
Okay, and you did not hear the beat ahead of time.
No, I didn't. And I'm very picky with beats too.
Oh,
so
no.
I ain't picky, but let's see what you got.
All right. So this is a beat from our good friend Carl Clockwise Dawson, and the name of this track is called Free Will.
Free Will. Okay.
Talking about it all the way.
Okay. It's kind of cool. I like it.
Talking about it all the way.
I'm trying to figure whether I should be the bigger man, but now I stand in the land, the West Coast throwing up the dub. Never really see me at the club, but I still like to bust these rhymes every single time, and I'ma drop a dime, but I'm not telling. Everybody's yelling my name, the El Haj Malik. I don't ever sound the same, plus you blame the pain on the rain, the way it drops. Mother F the cops, but I'll try not to cuss on the air. I don't care. Matter of fact, when I rhymes, cats like to stare at me and live in despair, cause they understand that I'm the man that wants to go against the clan, and the hand claps for me and for my name. EMS, El Haj Malik, that's the same cat that you saw in the cypher. Pick you off just like a sniper on the top of the roof when I'm coming from the dome. Make cats want to go back to home and write this. Yo, I'm not alone. It's the one coming real tight on the drum. Make you want to run away from the mic. Matter of fact, hopefully this is something that you like.
Very good.
Off the top of the head, just a little.
Very good.
Okay,
you were up for the challenge. Thank you so much. Yeah. Shout out to Carl Clockwise.
You okay, and do that. You gotta let me do one verse too, like a written verse too. I think you know what I'm saying.
You want to do that beat?
It started out dope, but then the snares, I was wondering was the snares going to get you, because it's like tat, 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 tat. If it just looped that first part, the first part was nice. I was like, oh, that was nice.
Yeah, just make the adjustment.
Give me another beat.
All right, so do you have another beat, Rich, we can use?
Do something,
Some Rick Ross?
Girl, let me tell you. No.
Pass me some chicken.
Now, this might be too...
it's fast. It's real fast. It's like...
Give me something like rugged, you know.
That's
a little too slow.
Yeah.
Let me see. I'll do it anyway. Yeah. Okay.
All right, we're improvising right here on the dialogue. This is not scripted.
Now, for me, as far as it sounds like this track, doesn't sound like your typical 90s underground, you know. This is
I was waiting for you to say that.
Yeah, this is real. This is kind of a commercial sound.
Okay.
You know what I'm saying? I mean, I could do it, you know.
That one.
Okay.
That's a good one.
Oh yeah, this is nice.
All right,
Let me see.
Richard Carr to the rescue.
I might curse a little.
That's
I'm
good. You're on
from
the
Southern
internet.
California, where the coppers be all up on you. Helicopters and choppers are stopping with lights upon you. Whether you banging or not, them niggas you bang on the block adopted you, whether you claim it or not. Nigga, please, you really think that you can hang at that spot with them brown colors? Get shot for entertaining the thought. El Nino, baby, cause lately it's been raining a lot. Black and Latino confrontation, guns is aimed at your pops in LA. These A&Rs, they just laugh at your dreams, cause LA is gangster music and 2 basketball teams. When negativity advances, you diminishing your rap chances of making it big. Not talking about them lap dances, but I'ma have to fight, may sacrifice my appetite, cause what I feel I have to write contributes to my afterlife. And not to mention these children that tend to mimic good music has been suspended. Whack music's an epidemic, and it's EMS.
EMS.
I like this show. I like this version.
Richard.
Yeah, I was about to. You can rip this one.
Yeah, sure.
Very good.
It's
So when you're
dope, Joe's
freestyling,
on
how do you
show.
know to keep your mind fresh and to focus on different things to talk about?
Well, I mean, with freestyle, it's hit or miss, you know, and a lot of MCs, a lot of people are judged on how often or not that they miss. And I have good time. I have times where I'm on a roll and times when I'm a little off. You know, a lot of it has to do with how you feel. You know, because it's really you're really just coming. It's just really a tipping over of you're just overflowing whatever comes.
Well, thank you for rolling with us and allowing us to find a beat that suits you. So before we go to break, so Sebastian, tell us. So what is it like for the independent artist? What is life like for the artist? Shabazz, I know you know that too well, but I'm gonna get you. So just what is that like?
Well, it could be a struggle.
Okay.
You know, I mean, I've worked with so many different independent artists.
In what capacity?
You know, just
A&R?
trying to be heard.
Okay.
I don't. At this point, I don't even think we're really thinking about A&Rs
Okay.
anymore. You know, I think it's just really more about the independent grind.
Okay.
Like doing you independently, truly, without having to rely on somebody who's going to put their stamp on it and say, I approve or I don't approve.
Okay.
You know, but the flip side to having that flexibility and that creative space, you know, is that you oftentimes have to be a businessman or
Okay.
a businesswoman.
You have to know the business.
You have to know the business.
Right.
You have to know how to grind. You got to know something to move yourself forward, to market yourself or brand yourself.
Okay, so what is it like for you? What is life like for you as an artist? Are you trying to get signed to a major? Is that one of your aspirations, or are you trying to be like the Insane Clown Posse or Tech Nine, who are making millions in the underground scene?
Well, you know, that's a good question. I definitely am not looking so much to get signed to a major label,
Okay.
but I want to be recognized, you know, as a writer as well. I'm an MC, but I'm also a writer.
Okay.
And I think that a lot of MCs really should realize if you are able to be successful and if you're a professional at writing lyrics, you can probably write anything. Because just the idea
So
of
not
writing
just music,
songs.
so scripts or TV
Oh,
or
absolutely.
plays.
I've
Okay.
tried, and I'm trying it all.
Okay.
And that's my problem. I want to focus on one thing.
Right.
You know, but if you are a writer, if you're an MC, you have an incredible talent that can be used in many ways, and that's something you really that I hope my MCs up and coming should realize. And the sooner you realize that, probably as far as a means to making money at this, you might be able to do it a
Very
lot.
good.
You know,
All right.
a lot sooner.
So, Jinx, in terms of, you know, the artists that you've worked at, or even just understanding the independent scene, do many of them seek to get signed to a label, or are they looking to, you know, blow it up big in the independent underground scene?
It's just it all depends on the artist,
Okay.
you know, because some artists don't want to conform and make music that the record company want to sell.
Okay.
So a lot of people try to lean on I'm underground because their content ain't strong enough to be sold.
Mm-hmm.
So when people yell underground, sometimes that means they're not open to make secular songs that go to everybody.
Okay.
And that's a good place to sit in, but that don't sell records.
Mm-hmm.
So if you want to be real hip hop, usually real hip hop don't sell.
Right.
So you have to mix a little bit with something else to bring a bigger audience into the song.
Okay.
Now if you want to be stubborn and say this is the kind of music that I do, then you're gonna get what you pay for,
Mm-hmm.
you know, because I don't know too many underground artists that sell without conforming to what the record company wants.
So speaking of which, so what is it like for an artist to be signed by a record label? What is the pros and the cons?
I
Or
mean,
some of the pros and
it's
the cons?
like this. It's either one or the other. Either you're creative enough to make your own lane, or you're creative enough to do what somebody tells you to do.
Okay.
And that's the difference between the underground artists. They get stuck in their own way, and they can't use their art that somebody else wants you to do. That's a talented person. Not when you know, drawing a happy face is only dope when you're drawing yourself. But when you're drawing somebody else, it's not going to look the same way, and that's an artist.
Okay. Shabazz, you want to say something?
Well, you know, one of my biggest issues with conforming is the fact that oftentimes it has to do with changing, it has to do with losing with integrity, you know, in the name of making money. And, you know, unfortunately, what most people, you know, what sells, you know, is most people sex, money, and violence in music. And, you know, for me, I just can't, because I realize the impact that hip hop has, that hip hop rap has can have on an individual's character. It's just one reason alone where I'm very careful with what I talk about. And oftentimes, if you're trying to make it big, you might have to. That's, you know, the content of what you speak about is.
You might have to join the Illuminati. You might have to join the Illuminati.
But yeah, and that's something. And I mean, you can call it stubborn, but I just can't do it. You know what I'm saying? I think I could work with Disney to write something for kids or something like that. You know, which a lot of people could also say, okay, well, you're selling out. Okay. But I can't talk about, you know, dissing no women. I was raised by my mama.
Be raised by your mom. Even if they offer you $1 billion,
I'm not doing it.
You're not doing it?
Nope.
All right. We're talking about the future of independent future of hip hop, and independent artists here on The Dialogue. So make sure you give us a call, 323-473-3100, 323-473-3100. Again, we are featuring new music from Sir Jinx off his new album, Sir Jinx Presents The West Wing. And this is Life in California. Right. This is California.
This is California, my man Chill from CMW.
You said you have featuring Tony Villa, The Chill, Domino, Just in Time.
Yeah, Domino is on this track, so he's singing the hook. That's what I say. I get in the studio
and you just
tell people to show up and
make it happen.
Make a gumbo or some hip hop.
Some gumbo or some hip hop, and this is produced by Day One and Mr. Sir Jinx right here on The Dialogue. We're gonna take a quick commercial break, and we'll be right back.
Dream Team first came out, they hit you with Egyptian Lover. Radio had it cracking back then. Mix Master Spain, Toddy T had the battle ram when Compton was put on the map. After that, Eazy-E and Dr. Dre brought gangsta rap. It's a beautiful day in the neighborhood when niggas get sprayed AK in his hood. Niggas don't play, set niggas up good. It's real in the field when you fucking with guns. We ride for whatever. It's that dope. It's that dope. Keep it run double. Surviving together. Gotta get more. We gotta get more. Listen.
Reality radio, handcrafted for your listening pleasure. You're tuned in to LA Talk Live, where we're more than just talk.
Hi, this is Rhonda Ray, inviting you to join us every Thursday, 6 p.m. Pacific, for Hot Chicks Live. Join us as we discuss the latest fashion, entertainment, sports, and more. So don't forget to tune in to Hot Chicks Live every Thursday, 6 p.m. Pacific, exclusively on latalklive.com. You can also catch us on iTunes Radio R&B, Live 365, Radio Flag, TuneIn Radio, AHA Radio, TiVo Radio, and Apple TV Radio, or watch and listen directly at latalklive.com. Reality radio, handcrafted for your listening and viewing pleasure. This is LA Talk Live, and we are more than just talk.
Interested in advertising your business, product, or service here on The Dialogue? The Dialogue will help you promote your business, increase your traffic, and bring in new clients through innovative and creative marketing packages, including affordable radio ad campaigns for small businesses. Go to www.thedialoguela.com or call 323-475-8729. That's 323-475-8729. 323-475-8729. And now, back to The Dialogue. The Dialogue with Starlett Quarles. Real talk, real people.
What's up, Jinx? What up, Gotti? What's up, man? I'm just posting. What's up, Box?
What's What's up? What's up, Jinx? What's up?
Oh man.
Welcome back to the Dialogue, Real Talk, Real People. I am your host, Starlett Quarles, and we are concluding our month-long series on the evolution of hip-hop. I hope you've joined us all month long. We started off talking about the history, then we went into the appropriation of hip-hop and white artists, and now tonight we are talking about the future. What is the future of hip-hop? Is hip-hop dead? According to these gentlemen, hip-hop is alive and well, and it is popping in the underground scene. So give us a call here, 323-473-3100, 323-473-3100. We want to hear from you. We know we got some hip-hop heads out there. You got these gentlemen up here telling you about the future of hip-hop. Give us a call. We want to hear from you, 323-473-3100. Again, this is off of Jinx's new album, Sir Jinx Presents The West Wing. This is Whole World Spins, featuring Corrupt, MC8, King T, I got it right this time, and Buki. Who's Buki?
Bokilo.
Bokilo.
He's on the hook.
He's on the hook. We got Bokilo on the hook. So, Jinx, we all know about your legacy in hip-hop and your work with Ice Cube. But now you are lending your talents and your expertise to independent artists. So talk to us about how you're supporting today's independent artists in the hip-hop scene.
Well, everybody got a story to tell.
Mm-hmm.
So my story is just the way that I came into the game, and coming under Dr. Dre and having DJ Pooh and these guys above me. I was a real young guy, so I really had people to talk to. I had, Mike Conception. I used to live with him at some point.
You used to live with Mike Conception?
Yeah, I wanted to be in the music industry.
Okay, you wanted to be
I worked on All in the Same Gang. We call it, what is ghost writing? It was called participating back in the day.
It was participating.
Yes, getting
contributing.
On. So basically, I
pledging.
just want to tell some of the people that want to hear a few of the mistakes, so they'll learn how to correct them.
And so what were some of those mistakes that you've made?
Well,
in the
some money,
industry?
you got to learn how to deal with money. I mean, money is the, was the love of money is the root of all evil, but at some point, the money has its own career too. I mean, you got 3 careers: your music career, your girlfriend or your wife and your kids, and the money.
Okay.
So you gotta really master those and basically understand how to go forward. You can be the dopest rapper alive and your house to be wrong.
Okay.
You can be the dopest dude at the house and your money ain't nice.
Right.
So it's just a full when an artist is ready, that's what I'm here to say. Well, it don't matter how long ago I sold records, but it was still a war, and that war still exists. And if you don't understand what's coming at you, you're gonna get hit and you're gonna be over with.
And you said a lot of artists, especially independent artists, who want to get put on, sometimes they get taken advantage of. So what are the ways in which artists get taken advantage of?
Well, just putting themselves out there too fast.
Okay.
I mean, everything
just thirsty.
Everything is levels to this game. So if you think that you want to be in a higher level than you should be at, then you're going to be somebody's going to take advantage of you.
Okay.
Especially if you don't know about the music industry and you don't know how much you're worth. And a lot of people don't know how much they're worth because they ain't never been worth anything,
Right.
So it's hard for them to get out there and be like, well, I'm worth this amount and I want this amount in a record deal. It's kind of hard for that. So that's why a lot of artists want to kind of start that ball rolling, being independent, so they're not being micromanaged by a A&R.
Okay.
Because that's what most artists wanted back in the early 90s, is to not have an A&R.
Okay, all right. So, Shabazz, do you know your worth?
I don't.
Okay.
I don't know my worth.
That's honest. I appreciate that.
No, I don't. One thing that I mentioned is that I listen to hip hop. I appreciate hip hop and write hip hop from a fan's perspective.
Okay.
Because first and foremost, I'm a fan of hip hop. So although hip hop is highly competitive, from the beginning to the end, I still manage to appreciate others a lot more so than even my own music. And as far as being productive, that can be an issue.
Okay.
I don't really take what I create as serious as I should, perhaps, because I'm so much of a fan and I'm so much into investing in the people who laid it down and other MCs, and so.
But you had said at one point you were either about to get signed to a label or some of your friends got signed.
Yeah. Now, funny, there, along with the rules, us mentioning the rules, there was a label that was interested in hiring me to write for someone.
Okay.
And it was through a friend of mine that I had gone to high school with. So from that level, I decided to see him out of it. But it ended up being a pretty dangerous situation.
Some people lost their lives.
It's a long story, but it was something to where I had been pretty reluctant to do anything. And it just goes to show you get with the wrong people,
right.
These things can happen.
Right, exactly. So Sebastian, you talk about artists being, taken care of, taken advantage of, and not having that, major label, because you had talked about the independent artists. We talked about specifically the Insane Clown Posse and Tech Nine. Now they are on independent labels.
Which I will say about the Insane Clown Posse, I would not consider them a hip hop group.
Okay.
They rap.
All right.
And other things.
Okay.
But I definitely wouldn't put them in.
Fair enough. But they are independent artists.
But they are independent. They're on Strange Music.
Okay.
And
so Strange Music is an entertainment.
It's a label. It's a label. It's a big independent label.
Okay.
And Tech Nine is on it as well.
Okay. All right. So what's the difference? So juxtapose the difference between an artist being signed on an independent label versus a major. Or like, what are some of the benefits of an artist being signed to an independent label?
I mean, there's a good chance that on an independent label you're going to have much more creative freedom.
Okay.
Not 100% sure, but there's a good chance you will have more creative freedom.
Okay. All right.
But then you don't have the same dollars behind you. You don't have the same marketing budget. You don't have the same push. So a lot of it kind of has to fall back on the artist to take it upon themselves to move forward and promote what they do.
All right. So you've been on a major before. Would you ever consider being signed to an independent label?
Well, it just depends on how high you want to go.
Okay.
Some people want more out of their music. You go to a bigger label, you're going to get less of your music because your music is going to go further. But it just depends on what you want to get out of it. Some people want that creative control, and that creative control costs.
Right.
So,
I'm glad you said that, because when you had talked about educating these young artists on the business of music, you said a lot of these kids don't even know what it takes, the procedure it takes to get to sell a song. So elaborate on the process of what it takes to sell a song.
Well, first you have to know where you're going with the song and who's the song going to be sold to and what kind of music you're going to make. When a person wants to be independent, they don't want to appeal to the masses because the record company is owned by somebody.
Okay.
You just can't. When they call it independent, that doesn't mean you're not successful.
Okay.
That just means you're not with the corporations and you're surviving next to a huge ship.
Okay, fair enough.
And, when you're writing and building content, your content has to be dope enough that it sells past a signed artist. And most independent artists assume that they can do cursing versions and other kind of versions of their music when that actually hurts them. So the only way you can make a cursing version is if you're signed to a record label.
Okay.
So if you're independent, all your independent material should be clean enough to go across the boat.
Okay.
Across the plane. You feel me? And a lot of the people think being independent means you can make any kind of music, but it's actually harder to get it off that way because you have a fewer spectrum of people that's going to even hear it.
And you alluded to at the top of the show that it can be expensive doing some of these songs, like the cost of sampling. Like we just played a song, and you had Dilla in the background. You know what I mean? So a lot of artists taking that creative license to sample, but not really knowing the cost of what it takes to really.
You have to substitute what you want out of it.
Okay.
You're not going to get 100%. You want to get on the ride, you got to take at least 70% and let somebody bring you out. You got 30, and as you get bigger, you have more say-so.
Okay.
And you need the A&R. I was like, the A&R is like the story of the wolf. When they took the wolf out of the Yellowstone Park, and then the elk and the deer ran rapid. They ate up everything.
Is this a real story?
It's very real.
Okay.
And they ate the river. That means the shrubs around the river. There's no frogs. There's no birds. All this stuff dies because it's not being regulated.
Okay.
So the A&R is a regulator that made sure the CEO was paying for good product.
Okay.
So you actually need that in today's time, or you're going to get the music you have now.
Okay.
This music is not being presented by A&Rs. They're being presented by production companies
All right.
and somebody that let a person do whatever they want to do. Because like you said, it's an unwritten contract to how an artist is supposed to be.
Now, who are some of the artists that previously were independent but got picked up by a major label and are, known commercially?
I mean, that would be
Today.
I mean, that's just like going to school. I mean, you
Okay.
graduate, you keep going. Kendrick Lamar
Kendrick, yeah,
started
that's the first
as an independent guy. A lot of the people started
Right.
independent. E40 started independent,
okay.
and Dr. Dre and them was independent.
So do major labels actively go out and look for independent artists? Because I'm looking at a new show with Jermaine Dupri that he has called The Rap
Well,
Game.
your numbers got to
And
be.
his numbers, these
Yeah.
kids all had exorbitant amount of social media numbers, whether it was on Facebook or they had Instagram followers or things of that nature. So do independent labels actively seek out independent artists?
Well, independent.
I mean, major labels,
Well, major labels, you graduate to
Okay.
that. So the average art, the old school artist is probably don't exist anymore.
Okay.
You probably got Adele and maybe, Jennifer Lopez, a couple other people. But most of the time, the new artist comes in with a production company and where most of all their material is being made up under that roof. So the A&R really has nothing to say about the new artist.
Okay.
So when you for the major will come in and sign your entire package rather than you wanting to be signed as an artist. You want to be signed as an artist to your own label. And this is something we have learned as it went further because it wasn't there at first. Artists wasn't being the artists on their own label.
Okay.
They were signed to a label and they had their own label.
Right. Now, one of the major pros of being signed to a major label is the opportunity to have distribution. Now, you're working independently in the independent distribution industry. So tell us about that and tell us the work that you're doing to help independent artists get their music out there.
Well, you got to do a little bit more footwork
Okay.
when you're doing independent and distribution on the internet because it can come to a screeching stop. I was talking to one guy and he said that you can chart differently on YouTube if 12 people buy your material. So a lot of people think that, all your friends is buying it, but they're not. Your record comes to a complete halt, and then when it comes to a complete halt, we all know how the internet go. When your name off the internet, it's not being searched. So that's 2 times down. So sometimes I encourage some of the artists, when you got your music out, buy it yourself. Give your homeboy $5. Give them $10 to make them keep making your music move.
Okay.
Because if your music don't move, then it's not searchable.
Okay.
And if you're not being searchable, you're not doing the footwork.
Okay.
So this is even better than the industry, the music. I mean the big labels, because you see instantaneously your hard work on the internet. You can tell.
Instant gratification.
Oh man, right there, to where back in the day you had to wait 30 days,
Right.
90 days to get the numbers back.
Okay.
But you can see that right now. So
All right. Sebastian.
See, what's interesting about that is you have to be both an artist and a business person.
Exactly.
And a lot of creative people aren't business minded.
Yeah.
Or
Like
have
MC,
personality.
like
Or
MC
have-
Hammer. How do you make $20 million and be broke? Right?
I don't think he's broke.
You
So
don't think he's broke?
Not at all.
yeah,
Okay.
probably not broke. I mean, I'm thinking about cats who
Hey.
were dope at rhyming and making beats, but
Okay.
couldn't even spend a little bit of money on
Rich people
on,
cry broke, and broke people
So on a
want to be
song,
rich.
who makes the
you know?
most money? Is it the publishing rights? Is it the masters? I mean, how do you make most of the money on a song?
There are 3 separate situations. So you have the publishing, and then you have the actual sale of the record. It depends on if you have a radio hit, then you will make a lot of money in publishing.
Okay.
But then, like now, a lot of people have radio hits because they don't make CDs and LPs no more. So they all the different situations change.
But going back to understanding the business, we were talking about, some of these major artists who like TLC and, they had these major, labels behind them. But when it came down to them getting paid, they were getting 2-3 cents, off of the sale of the album. So it's very important that today's artists are educated on contracts and what exactly they're signing up for when they sign to a major label.
It wasn't really a bad. I mean, if you look at a successful contract, a successful artist, and you look at that contract is bad.
Okay.
But if they were successful. But what if they didn't make it? They would have got 2 cents off of nothing.
All right.
So when an artist comes into the game, that's why I say they have to substitute some of it to get in. And you can't be 100%. No one's going to pay for 100% of you.
All right. So once you make it, where does the artist make most of their money? On tours or in
endorsements? And
endorsements.
It's a waterfall of ways
of opportunities.
Yeah.
Okay.
And once you sell a good song,
All
and
right.
that's just 3 minutes.
Okay. All right. So as an independent artist, how do you market and brand yourself?
The internet, social media. You know, I don't have a website or anything like that. Because most of my work is collaborative. I usually work with other MCs.
Okay.
But all of that is in the making. You know, I'm gonna have a whole lot of solo songs, but most of the time
But it seems like it's overwhelming for just one person. I mean, if you had a label behind you, but now you have to book your shows,
and the thing
send out your e-blast.
thing is, it's not only that. You know, MCing is not the only thing that I do.
Right.
You know, I do a lot of things, and yeah, the footwork with the type of work that you have to put in to really do it, to really be out there. You know, I'm not sure I'm willing to invest that time.
That's fair.
And it's like I would like, you know, it would be great if there was someone who was like, oh, you know what, I'll invest enough into you to where, you know, you can just write music for 6 months and
Right.
we'll see what happens, you know, and I'll pay for everything. Something like that. But you know what I'm saying? But it's very difficult. It's a lot of work.
Sebastian, I saw you shaking your head when
it's not
he was
just
talking.
talent.
No, it's just, you know, I'm thinking about what you're saying and thinking about artists I've worked with in the past. You know, a lot of them have unrealistic expectations.
Okay.
You know, they want everything. They want to blow up. You know, they're looking at the big dream.
Call it a microwave career.
Right. There you go.
You want a microwave career.
Are you
Right.
actually
You want
willing
it to happen
do
in 20
something?
minutes.
Right. I'm not going to go into stories, you know, with specific artists I've worked with, but, you know, the expectations, artists are delusional.
Okay.
Up and coming artists, they're delusional because they've been really conditioned by thinking that it's all about, you know, I'm going to pop on YouTube. You know, I'm going to get 1 million views on YouTube, and next thing you know, that's it. You know, just because it might have happened to somebody. You know,
But then there are a lot of artists who aren't even concerned about the results.
Of course,
you know,
of
who
course.
do it like myself. I mean, I do it for the love, even though I
Right.
want to be. You know, of course, there's a part of me that would like to have those quote unquote numbers and all that thing. But for the most part, I do it because I enjoy it, and
Right.
and it's something. It's mentally stimulating. I do like the fact that there are people who appreciate the flow, whatever. But you know, I don't really spend a lot of time thinking about really getting rich at this thing. Even though deep down there is a desire to do that, and maybe it takes someone else to really coach me into believing that man, you can make some money off of this.
Right.
You know,
And I think a lot of artists are like that. A lot of independent artists are like that.
I kind of look at it as you are where you want to be.
Okay.
You know, if you want to be further, then you're actually gonna have the desire to put in the time to do it. You know, and this is no diss to anybody. It's just about just identify what you're what you're trying to get, where you're trying to be, what kind of artist you want to be, and strive for that. And it's perfectly cool to just do it out of love.
Now, Jinx, you had talked about, and you specifically used Tech Nine as an example. Like when he came to an independent artist, he was already packaged. I mean, he already understood the business. He already understood the creativity. So who is that ideal artist that is ready to be either signed to an independent label or ready to kind of take it to the next level and get to distribution?
It's a lot
distributed.
Distributed. It's a lot of work, but the work is so dope that you put it like this. Like back in the day, you would have to pay maybe $3,500 or something. Excuse me, $35,000.
Okay, that's
out
a big
of your
difference
budget to get billboards, right? So this would be down, Western, down this street. But who knows how many people is going to go down that street, and who knows who's going to see it? That's usually $35,000 down the drain.
Right.
So on the internet, you can apply $200 and meet so much more traffic that would ever go down Western,
right?
And a different kind of people. So
and globally,
and you're all over the world. So where it becomes hard, it also becomes easy. So when people are like, kind of like, woe is me, I don't have a record deal. I mean, there's ways to use money that they used a long time ago,
right?
And it's smaller now. Case in point, the music. A person can spend $3,000 and do the same thing I spent maybe $80,000 for years ago.
Okay.
You know, so they started cutting stuff out. But, you know, it's on the artist on which part is important.
Right. Okay.
You
Very
know.
good. So in terms of radio, there are still some local radio stations here that still cater to the independent music listeners, specifically in hip hop. You had mentioned KCRW.
Yeah.
You had mentioned some other local stations where hip hop artists. KPFK.
Yeah, you definitely have, out here in LA, and of course you can stream wherever you are, but you definitely have stations that do give some time to creative artists and hip hop artists. I mean, obviously these are not hip hop stations,
Okay.
But there are shows where you get to hear independent artists.
So name some of the local, or not even local, but just name some independent artists who you like. I wish we had their music. Who you like, who you respect, who
Right.
are maintaining the authenticity of not only the music but the culture.
Right. I really dig Rhapsody.
Okay.
Who-
you guys ever heard of any of these artists, Rhapsody?
Who actually isn't, she's not like underground, unknown. I mean, she has one of the most prominent feature on Kendrick's last album.
Okay.
So that's pretty serious. Cyrock, another female
Have you guys
MC.
heard any of these?
I haven't heard of her.
They have Starlett. Okay.
I really dig Jay Electronica, who might never ever come out with an album.
Why do you say that?
Well, because he hasn't.
Okay. Oh, okay.
But he's put out so much independent stuff that that's pretty much all we have to go on right
Okay.
now.
All right.
So people like that.
All right. What about internationally? You said because hip hop, the underground scene is not just a West Coast, East Coast thing.
for
I mean,
sure.
it's internationally recognized
Yeah,
as an art form
I mean,
and a lifestyle.
exactly a lifestyle. That's the thing. I mean, you got b-boys, you got DJs, you got beatboxers all over the world.
Mm-hmm.
Well, if the record comes from Europe, it's not underground anymore.
No, but I'm saying like,
What do you mean by that?
for
Because
like
it made it.
Oh,
but I'm saying like it might be.
Underground is when 17 people had.
but
young
there's
stuff.
an underground culture
I'm
of
talking about
artists.
I think
Underground, like,
underground really means not selling records.
Well, that's ultimately what it means. But it's
Because I don't like that word underground. Because
Okay.
people hide under that and don't do good music.
I dig
at
what
the
you-
end
I
of the
dig what
day.
you're saying.
It's
It-
interchangeable though.
Yeah, because it's also become a sound. Or
Well,
Yeah.
independent. When you say
Absolutely.
underground, underground usually is people that don't want to sell units and don't want to make the music the way the radio plays or the way that the majority of the people make music.
Okay.
Technically,
I think it's about the aesthetics of.
I
So
do
what would you
understand,
call
but
it then?
It's just like a guy that don't want to dress up to go to the club and then get mad the girls don't like him.
Okay.
I mean, at some point you didn't do what the club did.
All right. So
You know,
not following the formula.
And you're underground,
All
you
right.
know.
So,
but if you
what is the preferred that you would rather say instead of underground?
independent.
Oh, independent. Okay, fair
Yes.
enough. All right. So I'm sorry, Shabazz, you were saying.
I mean, you can have that argument. That's that's cool because that's true. What he's saying is correct. However, underground is also, when someone says, that's an underground artist, you kind of get a sense of what they're about,
Okay.
of the content of the music, of the sound, perhaps.
Right.
It's become, just like you said, it has become a style,
Mm-hmm.
a lifestyle, even, or, you can when someone says underground, you can even think of, okay, perhaps they like music from this time point.
Right,
And,
exactly.
so it's a lot of different things, even though what you're doing is explaining it from a technical perspective, which is true.
Mm-hmm.
But I'm an underground MC, not because I'm not even in the numbers game.
Right.
That doesn't apply to me at all. But as far as my style is concerned, that's where it would apply.
And
to
your
me.
style is more from the origins, the more socially conscious. But in the underground or in the independent scene, you can still find hip hop artists talking about women or
That's
talking
true.
about drugs, right? So lyrically, they can talk about some of the same things.
Oh, I mean, just because it's underground doesn't mean it's dope.
Right.
Let's clear that up.
That's
true.
Right,
Okay.
right
All right.
now.
That is
That's
true.
what I was saying. People hide up
right,
under that word,
Yeah,
just
that
like
is
they
true.
hide under gangster.
Yeah,
People
yeah.
put gangster behind their raps, and they're horrible. You're like, that's not gangster rap. That's your rap.
So,
You know?
so what do you guys think about gospel hip hop and the viability of hip hop gospel, Shabazz?
I can't think of the guy's name, but I have heard
McCrae?
there is no. his song was against. He had a song where he was dissing Jay-Z. But he
was a gospel artist?
Oh my goodness, he's probably not only as a gospel artist, as far as his flow is concerned, it's probably the tightest, one of the tightest MCs I've ever heard in my life.
Gospel guy talking about Hova.
Oh my goodness, gracious!
Sounds a little, you know what I'm saying?
Right
suspicious.
now, we are listening to Shabazz, the EMS Burrell's. That's what's up. That's what's up. Am I saying it wrong?
No, just like the extension of my name is everything Shabazz, born in '76.
The EMS. Before we go out, what are your thoughts on the future of hip hop and independent artists?
I think the future of hip hop is great. It's beautiful. Hip hop culture is alive and well. I'm not concerned. I'm not afraid of the future of hip hop.
Okay.
Now, mainstream rap, that's another story.
All right. How can people find you?
Seb is hiphop.com. SEB is hiphop.com. And
Seb
social media,
is
same thing.
hiphop.com. Jinx, Sir Jinx.
I'm glad you had me, man. I had a good time.
Thank you so much. Some people can go to iTunes to find Sir Jinx Presents The West Wing.
Yeah, they can check me on, I was on Instagram last night. I was going in, dropping some pictures from the NAM. So you can DJ Sir Jinx on Instagram. Y'all can get at me there.
All right.
And I respond, too. I've been talking to people.
You've been talking. That's good.
I just learned how. I didn't even know people were talking to me. They was like, push this button. I had a million.
Instagram Sir Jinx, tweet Sir Jinx. He wants to talk to you. He wants to have a conversation
I'll talk
with
to you.
You're going to come back and visit us, yes?
Oh, man, for sure.
Absolutely. Shabazz, the EMS. How can people find you, sir?
You can just go to Facebook, look up Shabazz Burwell. I'm the only one in the country with that name.
Is that right?
The only
Really?
one. Yep, there's no one else with the
Until
combination.
tomorrow.
Right, until tomorrow, right. Then Instagram, you can go to Malik Alpha Male. Same way it sounds on Instagram.
Are you performing anytime soon?
I usually perform at a place called Beats, Rhymes, and Laughs. Log on to hiphopphilosophy.com. It's a radio station, a local radio station that plays all the stuff, underground, quote unquote underground
independent
stuff.
And you're going to come back with us when we launch our new series next week on the realities of black love and relationships.
Yes,
and our
I know a lot
conversation
about
on
that
the
too.
misconceptions of marriage. How are you going to come back and talk to us? You seem so young. You must have been married young.
I was.
And you got a lot to say, too.
Got a lot to say.
All right, so thank you so much, gentlemen, for joining us.
Hey.
Make sure you tune in next week as we launch our new series on the realities of black love and relationships right here on The Dialogue with me, Starlett Quarles, signing off as my mama's child and my daddy's baby girl. Until next week, God bless you.
Just because a nigga throws the dub, he tore up the club. These whack niggas know what's up. Ain't nobody rapping represent the West like me. Far as that, ain't no question who the best might be. From the beginning, man, I came in correct. Still gaining respect and beats banging like I'm claiming a set. What? And that's what's up.
Yo, handcrafted for your listening pleasure. You're tuned in to LA Talk Live, where we're more than just talk.
And that's what's up. And that's what's up. And that's what's up.